Welcome to this video, and if you saw my autumn videos last year, you'll know that I did something in my living room to the fireplace using some foraged materials, and I'm going to do a summer edition today. Before I begin doing this mantle, which I'm hoping is going to smell absolutely delicious, this is what I have. So I have lots of thrifted items. So if you've seen any of the videos where I went to the car boot sales, so you might recognize some of the items. So I'll start. So down here, I got this for a tenner at a car boot sale. Was it the Kilkenny one? Oh, I'm not sure, but I know it was back in like early summer, late spring. I have my basket. I can't remember where I got that, but that's usually full of logs, but I haven't lit the fire. And then, random cat toy. And we have another. Oh, I need to talk about that in a second. Hang on. So up top, I just have some trinkets. There is some candles, some random bits. This is all secondhand except for those ones. Yeah, got the brass ones, secondhand. Yeah, all secondhand. And then the flowers, if you watched a Sunday garden video, you would have seen me cut these. I think these are bachelor buttons. They actually dry really nicely. So I'm going to hang these upside down and store them. And then the sweet peas, you only seem to get a couple of days. Well, no, this is about 5 days. You get a couple of days out of sweet peas, but the great thing about sweet peas is the more you cut, the more you get. Keep deadheading them and you will have loads. So that is, oh, and also I got this little tea light house. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. So I got this when I first moved in about 12 years ago, and I got it in, what was the name of that shop? Hang on. What was the name of the shop? It was an Irish owned shop. It wasn't, no, I'm not thinking of Hickey's. I'm after looking to see if there's a sticker on this. I used to love their interiors. I know exactly where the shop was. I can picture it in my head. It got taken over by like Sports Direct. Was it Home? No. They had some homeware. They had like a knick-knack section. They had like utensils. There was a clothing section. It was like a mini department store. I don't have time for dilly-dallying, but I am going to Google what the name of that shop was. Okay, I found it. Google didn't work. I had to go on the Retail Park's Facebook page and scrolled to like the bottom to see if they had really, really old posts, and that's how I found it. Heaton's was the name. And I just Googled Heaton's to see what happened to Heaton's. And their website, it's now called Brandmarks. But when I click website, it takes me to Fraser's website, which is Flannel Sports Direct, so I'm gonna just assume they were bought out by them. But Heaton's used to have great little home decor trinkets and pieces, and that's where I got that little, I don't know what you would call it, that little house. But Heaton's, who remembers Heaton's? I used to get some great bargains. They used to do, like, I used to get towels and stuff in there, and they used to have like a couple of cushions. And when I was in my faux flower, my plastic flower era a decade ago, I was all over that. They used to have some great things. And also, I'm nostalgic now, the Laura Ashley shop was in that same retail park, and they always had a sale on, which they did end up closing all their shops, so maybe that was a sign. But I used to love the Laura Ashley wallpaper sale, because if you waited until, it used to be like payday, a July-August one, and if you went in, you would get the rolls of paper for like 20 odd euro. And like it's 60, 70 quid a roll of Laura Ashley wallpaper, and it's never on sale anymore. Well, very rarely, but I miss them days. The Laura Ashley shop and Heaton's. R.I.P. Okay. My chicken wire is this exact same, well, it has some cobwebs on it, look at that. It's the exact same one. I'm gonna just dust it, that I used for Christmas time, so I don't have to cut it. So I'm going to literally stick it on. I also have the screws in the mantelpiece from Christmas time. I didn't take them out because I knew there was a strong likelihood I would do the lavender mantle. And what I am going to do is I'm going to just ruche this. Okay, there's some cobwebs. So I'm going to just like make it into a circle and yeah, stick it on. So I'm going to do the framework first, but that shouldn't take me too long. And then it's just a matter of sticking it all in. So yes, we are doing a foraged garland summer edition. And can you guess what plant am I going to be using for this? Now before we do anything, let's get the framework in place. So I am using some wire. You could use chicken wire, and have a look on your secondhand sites to see if you can pick up some offcuts so you can get it for free. Most garden centres or even like your hardware shop will have chicken wire, but if you're buying from them, it can probably be a bit spendy because you have to buy like the whole roll. So do have a look online to see if there's any scraps. Check out some Facebook groups. Might be some local farmers. Just say, hey, do you have any scraps of chicken wire for me? I really like using this because it's secure. It can take the weight of the flowers. Well, it's secured once it's drilled in. I would not use command hooks for this project because they will fall off. If you don't have a wooden fireplace and you don't want to drill in, you could possibly drill into the wall behind, but you'll figure it out and you'll make it work for you. I love the wire because it is just easy. I don't have to use any individual wires or tapes or florist wire. I literally just start packing the foliage in, and the more I pack, the more it will hold itself together. So I did have to buy in some lavender for this project, but I was able to get them from the place. If you remember 2 years ago, I went to Fragrances of Ireland's shop. So from late June and the month of July, every weekend, they have a sale where you can buy the products, but they also harvest their lavender. So this lavender is grown just a little bit down the road. Now, you can also do what I did and you can buy it online. The lavender bunches are €4 each, which is an absolute bargain because I have 2 lavender plants in the garden and they just look like little twigs. I would definitely not get a garland. It's also nice to support a local business. And if you saw my spring vlog where I was at Evoca, if you visit here, it's really close to Evoca, so you could have a look at their gorgeous garden centre, grab something to eat, and then this is like a 5-minute drive from there. So it's really cute, well worth the visit. Now, a bit of lavender housekeeping and just a few safety tips. So first of all, as the lavender dries out, I don't recommend lighting the fire. So I did light the fire at Christmas time with the ivy, but dried lavender, any dried flowers, they're really, really flammable. So I have heard horror stories of dried flowers on like tablescapes going on fire, because obviously once they're dried out, they just go up in flames. Think of like a forest fire. So this is definitely something I will probably light my fire around October time, late October, maybe early November. And I will also get ages out of this garland before it starts to dry out, because I'm going to show you my wreath that I made 2 years ago that is still going strong. Obviously, if you have allergies, because this is, if you've got hay fever, this is obviously coming in from a field. Thankfully, I don't suffer with that, touch wood. But again, make sure that no one in your house is allergic to it. And then be really careful with pets. So if lavender is ingested, now it does say in large amounts, but what is a large amount to a pet? So if you have curious pets, I just wouldn't use lavender. Maybe use something else. Thankfully, my guys are in their early adults. They're leaving the teenager phase and they've absolutely no interest in the garland. They don't climb up on the fireplace because they're too busy climbing the tree outside. But definitely if you have toddlers, curious pets, just be careful with the lavender, because in high amounts, if ingested, it can be toxic. So with the safety briefing out of the way, you know your home's best. I hate to be a preacher, but just sharing that for anybody who doesn't know, but you know your own home's best and whether this will be suitable for you. I wasn't sure whether to go like 2 different ways. So I've gone this way, and then I didn't know whether to go, let's say, this way, and then they meet in the middle. But I think I'm just gonna go all the one direction around like you would a wreath. I think it's gonna look tidier. I don't mind it looking a bit wildy, but I think if I clash them and that goes in the middle, I don't know. It's hard to know. I think I'll do this though. I don't know. What would you do? I'm gonna do it this way though. Before I show you the finito garland, I want to show you a 2-year-old wreath. So my regular viewers will remember this, and I had forgotten about it, and it was just when I was going around the house, I was like, I need to remove all these things before renovations begin. But I was like, oh my god, who remembers this? This is definitely 2 summers ago. So I just want to show what it looks like after 2 years. I mean, obviously, hang on, can you see? Is the lighting? Here, the lighting might be a bit better here. So this is 2-year-old dried lavender. You can see from the back, it's crispy, very crispy, but it's, I mean, it holds its shape. It's just like straw. So obviously the green is gone, but there's still a bit of tone in the actual lavender itself. This still has a scent, granted it's not as, yeah, it still has a scent. It's not as obviously strong as the one I have just done, but I just thought I'd share that. 2 years later, you could definitely, I mean, this, I have to take down lots of stuff in this area soon, but I don't think I'm going to throw this in the compost, which, I mean, you can, which is the great thing about it. You can kind of just guilt-free put it in the compost, but I think I will just wrap it up and keep it as a dried flower, and I could maybe use it for something. So I will, if you want to do a lavender wreath, I will show you my fireplace looking lovely, and then I'll insert the video. I'll go back into the archives of the lavender wreath if you do want to do a wreath version. So that's what it's looking like 2 years later. I have another one here actually, hang on, I know I'm waffling, but this was last year's foraged wreath, and this has gone a lovely shade of orange. So I'll link to that one, but hands up who remembers this. So I put some dried flowers in it. So I did this last year, and this was all foraged. Some of the flowers I had gotten in a bouquet, and some of them, I foraged all of that orange foliage. It wasn't orange at the time, it was green. But I just noticed this summer, it actually looks more autumnal than it does now. You can see there's like bits of sea holly in it and stuff. I'm gonna pop that back up there. So yeah, I was like, that wreath actually looks, oh, please don't fall. That wreath looks better now, I think, than it did last year, and the orange in it is just pure coincidence because it's just gone so dry. That's the thing with dried flowers, like you just never know. Like lots of things dry so nicely. Anyway, let me show you the mantle. Let's make a lavender wreath. So to make one of these, you're going to need a wire frame for the base. You can also use cardboard or straw or anything really for the base. Use what you have. You can pick up these wire frames cheaply enough in most craft shops, and sometimes they'll even come in a pack of 2 or 3. You'll also need some florist wire, some fresh lavender, a sharp scissors and a wire cutter. You can also use dried lavender for this, and you could probably use artificial lavender as well, and feel free to mix some other things in. So eucalyptus could be nice. You could also add moss to the base, so you can get creative and mix a few things in. So gather your lavender and gather your florist wire. So I started by sticking the florist wire onto the frame, and then I took my bunches that are roughly the width of my round frame. I think mine was a 30cm round wreath frame. I then positioned a bunch of lavender onto the frame, and I used the wire and I wrapped it around about 2 or 3 times nice and tightly. I then trimmed off the excess stems. You could trim the stems before you stick them on, but I like trimming them after because I could trim them to the shape of the frame. So something that I learned from doing my wreath is, and you'll see at the end, mine is very whimsical and a bit wild looking. Kind of looks like it could have a trim, but I think it would have been better had I have evenly spaced the lavender. So instead of having the lavender bunches kind of at different heights, I think if I took more time to pack the lavender closer together, I would have had a neater frame. So just something to bear in mind when you're doing yours. But yeah, I like the wild look, but I think it might have looked better if it was a bit neater. I'd recommend hanging your lavender wreath inside or in a porch. I think if you put this outside, as it is drying, a lot of the little lavender bits are going to start falling off, and if it's exposed to the wind, I think it's going to get very weathered very quick. So I'm going to keep mine inside. I think I'm going to hang it on the living room door, and the smell is amazing. It's almost like a natural like air freshener in the living room. I smell it when I walk past and I'm like, oh my god, it smells delicious. So I want to make a little lavender sachet out of the leftover lavender I have from making the lavender wreath. So all those little bits that came off, you'll saw that I scooped them up and put them in a little pot. So these are going to be super easy to sew. I have some leftover fabric from a dress that I took up, and there's a lovely little embroidery detail on it, and I think these would make adorable fabric sachets, and they'd be really easy to make. I can also use the hem on this, and I'm literally just gonna like, yeah, stitch down, stitch the bottom, and there you have a sachet. But I will show you how to do a hem for anyone who doesn't have fabric that you can cheat with. So yeah, let's make these. I absolutely adore this fabric. So I had to cut my fabric to make sure that I had that lovely piece of embroidery. So I cut 2 pieces of fabric, 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. And I have a front piece and I have a back piece. I did a hem on the top of each piece of fabric. I folded it over 1/2 centimeter and I pressed it with the yarn. Then I folded it over again by another 1/2 centimeter. pressed it, and then I did straight stitch on the machine, and I did this to both pieces. So before I go, I wanted to share the autumn version just to save you scrolling back on videos. But I think this was November last year. It must be November because I've got a bobble hat on and I'm looking a bit cold. I was saying in that video how I got inspired by seeing hops. So I've seen garlands of hops in other people's like YouTube videos and stuff, and I could not find it anywhere. And then I was like, oh my god, the ivy berries look like hops and this looks nice. So if you want to take this idea for winter this year, work away. This was absolutely free. Well, I did have to buy the bit of chicken wire, but in girl math, because I reused it today, it was technically free. It's cancelled out. I've gotten my money's worth. Let's have a chat in the comment section. Do you have any suggestions for this year's autumn garland and fireplace? Is there a nice kind of evergreen shrub foliage that you think would be nice? Should I go all out and do a big... Well, I'm reluctant to do anything too dried flower because I do light the fire in winter and I had no problems with the ivy garland. So, and also if you were going to do a summer version, is there a different plant, another plant that you would use instead? So let me know in the comment section. If you want to see some more transformations and if you want to see like how this living room was looking before it got some paneling, some wallpaper, some coving. My house did not come with character. I had to give it some character, so you can check out the DIY diary playlist. And that is full of videos, like proper get your hands dirty DIY videos. And you can follow along because later in early autumn, I will be doing some renovations. Nothing too fancy, but a wall is coming down. So if you did like this video and you want to watch more, make sure you hit subscribe and you can check out that playlist as well as the other ones. And if you want to watch videos ad-free, there's also the member-only playlist and the Q&A videos that are members only. Thanks for watching. Cheeky thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.